If you're in construction, then you're in the right place. Welcome to the Constructive Behaviors Podcast. I'm your host, Barb Allen. I'm a woman with decades of experience in the construction industry, and most of it on the job site. I know how rewarding this industry can be, but like you, I also know that we could improve. Let's work together to make changes from the inside out. Hey, everybody. Today, I want to bust the myth that women don't want construction jobs. Too many times when I hear someone say, we need more women in construction, I hear someone else say, but women don't really want these jobs. And recently, I was talking to the best boss that I ever worked for. I have so much respect for this man. He was an incredible boss. And I'd actually reached out to him because I have been thinking about creating a one-day job site supervision conference in Kansas City. And my vision is to have 3 keynotes and breakout sessions. And what I mentioned to him regarding the 3 keynotes was that one of those I wanted to be a keynote focused on the benefits of women in construction. And ultimately, I would like a man to deliver that message. The reason for that can be an entirely different episode. What was interesting is when I mentioned that to him, there was a noticeable hesitation. Now, keep in mind, this man was a job site superintendent, a general superintendent. He lived job site supervision. His son is a job site superintendent. His daughter is also an amazing job site superintendent. And he mentored me as a job site superintendent. And yet, his hesitation was that he just doesn't think there'll ever be that many women in construction. He wasn't sure that that particular keynote was very applicable. When people say that, I think that when people say that or they think that, I think that they think it's just a career that women aren't drawn to. And they're right. Very few women are drawn to construction. But the why is what's important and what I want to talk about today. You can't be drawn to something that you aren't familiar with. You don't become drawn to something until you see how it fits with you or with your life. And you rarely become drawn to something until you have actual experience with it. And unfortunately, women, young women, girls are not exposed to the careers and the opportunities in construction, or they're not exposed in a way that allows them to see themselves as part of a construction team. So as a first step toward proving my point, I want to tell my story of how I got into construction. So when I was a kid, my dad started an HVAC company. Pretty sure I was entering kindergarten when he started his company. He installed residential and light commercial. On the weekends, I would walk jobs with him. We'd walk through homes where the structure was up, looking to see if the jobs were actually ready for his team to install the following week, or to see how much work his crews had gotten done the previous week. The only woman I ever saw while interacting with my dad and his company or on job sites was a woman named Sharon, who was his amazing secretary. That woman was seriously a baller. She did not take shit from anyone. And yet she was the nicest woman I had ever met. Of course, my mom excluded. So that was my experience with construction as a kid. Never thought about going into a career in construction, even though I walked jobs almost every weekend. So then my first job when I turned 16 was in a lumberyard and hardware store, Payless Cashways. I actually worked there for 6 years. I loved the people, the customers. I loved learning about the materials that we sold. I loved how much I could surprise a customer when they found out what I actually knew about the materials. Occasionally, there were women in the store with their husbands, but rarely did women come in for projects on their own. And no one ever initiated a conversation with me about careers or opportunities in construction, which of course wasn't the case for the men, particularly the men that worked out in the lumberyard, offered jobs all the time. Hey, we could really use you on a job site. But not me. No one ever mentioned it to me. And then there was college. So I went into college. My first year, I was chasing a degree in business management. After 1 year, I quickly decided that was not where I wanted to head. So my second year, I started chasing the degree of secondary education with an emphasis of math. I was going to be a high school math teacher. That's what my mom was. That's what I had seen her do as a successful woman. I was good at math. I'm going to do that. And then I started getting my first C or D in what calc or differential equation class or something that I felt like I'm never going to use this. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do this either. But if not going to do this, I'm now finishing my sophomore year of college, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was paying for my own college. I was wasting my money, not knowing what I was going to do. And I thought, okay, I need to quit. I need to quit. I need to take some time off. I need to figure out what it is I really want to do so I'm not wasting my money. If any of you have a mom who is a teacher, imagine telling your mom that you are going to drop out of college. Yeah, that was going to be difficult. So I did what any woman would do, and I called a friend who knew my mom, and my friend's name was Casey. And I called Casey and I'm like, hey, I need to drop out of college. I got to call my mom and tell her, what do you think I should say? And he just said, yeah, no, you can't do that. There's no way you can drop out of school. I said, listen, I've been through the course book twice. I can't find anything that I am interested in doing. And he said, look, one more time. Go through the course book one more time. And I'll never forget it. I was sitting on the carpet, leaning against the bed in my apartment, going through the course book, flipping through it. Yeah, it was like a phone book, flipping through it page after page, one at a time, reading what was there. And all of a sudden, I saw it. Construction management. I read that page, and I swear it was like angels were singing. I knew this is what I was meant to do. Okay, angels may have been a little dramatic, but you get the point. I was reading the description of this degree, and I knew this is what I was meant to do. Everything in my life, walking jobs with my dad, going into his shop, working in the lumberyard, in the hardware store, everything had led to this. But I had to find it on my own. This is so typical of how women discover construction opportunities. But it is not the way men in general get introduced to construction. They help their dad build a deck. They're brought into the family business. I mean, take my brother, for example. My brother's 3 years younger than me. At age 14, probably, he started working in the shop for my dad. I wasn't brought in. It was never a conversation. And it's not that my dad didn't think I was smart enough. I just don't think it was crossing anybody's mind that that would be a career for me or for a girl in general. So men, like I said, they help their dads. They're brought into the family business, or maybe their buddy gets a job in construction and their buddy's boss brings them on as well. But these are not ways that women are finding out about construction. But it could be. It's not that women don't want these jobs. It's that women don't know about them. They don't see other women in these roles that allow them to visualize themselves doing it. They don't have friends and family in construction reaching out to them to join. If all of this were to happen, I guarantee we will see a dramatic increase of women entering our industry. So stop thinking or saying that women don't want to work in construction, and instead put your effort toward making sure girls, young women know about the opportunities that exist. If you know someone that could benefit from this particular episode, then share it with them. Or if you want to continue to learn about the untapped and underutilized resources that will take your business to the next level, then follow the podcast. You don't want to miss an episode where we discuss what you needed to hear. And lastly, there is a link in the show notes that will allow you to reach out to me directly if you want to accelerate that learning curve. Thanks for listening. Talk soon.